Got a full agenda today, so we'll try to get you through here as quickly as possible. First item on the agenda, well, everybody's present? Okay.
Everybody that's here, say here.
Okay. First item on the agenda, case DP 2024-10, Porter County Board of Commissioners, Porter County Highway Department Central Facility, 1955 State Road 2, Valparaiso, Indiana. You guys name and your address or place of business, and then give us a brief summary of the project.
Andrew Waugh, 2847 South Woodland Hills Drive West, Warsaw, Indiana, 46580. Martin Riley, Architects, Engineers.
Paul Howard with A&Z Engineering in Fort Wayne, Indiana, 15333 Amstutz Road, Leo, Indiana, 46765.
Okay.
Brief summary of the project. It's a redevelopment of the existing highway site on Indiana 2. There's multiple buildings being torn down, and we will be building 3 new buildings, main office building that also has attached truck parking and maintenance facilities, a salt barn, and then a cold storage building for storing other miscellaneous items. And there'll be new.
And as far as the site, maybe you can give us a quick summary?
Majority of the site currently is asphalt and gravel. Most of the parking area behind the buildings will be gravel, new asphalt drive entrance and office parking, some drainage improvements, small detention for increased runoff. I believe all the permits for the project are in progress. We're waiting feedback from those agencies on the permits. And I don't believe with any of the conversations we've had with NDOT that anything related to any permitting through NDOT will be required.
Okay. And for the record, this is the owner or the applicant is the Porter County Board of Commissioners. This is a Porter County facility. You and your team have appeared before many of us here on the board many times in the development of this. I just want that to be known. So, David, any comments?
My comments are that the initial package was received by engineering on May 10th. An engineering review comment letter was sent. A conference was held between the applicant and several staff from Development and Stormwater Management. A appears to conform letter was issued on June 18th after the comments were addressed, with the exception of it was an appears to conform letter with minor outstanding comments that have since been addressed by the applicant. I have no concerns at this time.
Ann?
I don't have any comments or concerns. It's on municipal water and sewer, so.
Kevin?
No, I don't have any concerns either. Did we get the old septic field that was on the site located?
They've located a clean out. They have not verified if any fingers from any septic are still underground at this point.
There is an old septic
There is.
out there? Okay. That'll have to be properly abandoned.
Yep.
So it'll have to be pumped out by a licensed wastewater hauler, and then that tank will have to be crushed and filled in.
Right.
So.
I think we'll be all right because they're proposing a new driveway where I think it was
Okay.
over the top of it, and it was abandoned when it was hooked to the Valparaiso wastewater system. So it's, I brought it up only because
It's been abandoned, so.
yeah, and I don't think they properly did it. They just, when it became available to hook it up, they just did it.
Anything else, Kevin? Martin?
No comments.
Rich?
The only comment I have is once this thing gets off, we're going to pursue excess land acquisition from, or maybe not acquisition, but from the state of Indiana for the right-of-way between the original grant and the existing fee simple taking by
That's correct. Kelly, anything?
No comments. Thank you.
Monica or Christie? Okay. Anything you guys want to add at the end? So you'll investigate the sanitary or the septic system, see if it's been properly abandoned. Okay. I guess with this, we need to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any further comment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next case, MI 2023-18, Mark K. O'Brien, care of Todd Leith, Bryan Estates minor subdivision.
Dance around the microphone. Good morning, my name's Todd Leith. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner in this matter. We're requesting primary plat approval for a minor subdivision. Adam McAlpine Consulting is the project engineer on the project. Mary O'Brien is here as well. If there are any questions, the three of us, I'll be happy to answer those. This is in round numbers, 25-acre parcel, which we're dividing into two lots. The corner lot on Highway 2 is approximately, again in round numbers, 1.3 acres in size, and the 24-acre large lot behind. Those are the only two proposed divisions of this 25 acres. The purpose of which is to have the existing home be on its separate lot. That home will be in the future raised and a new home erected on that lot. And then the large lot in the back will be Mary's principal home as well, with a large single-family home to be erected there. There's a significant amount of work that's been done engineering-wise to provide for access off of the county road and new driveways with separation back from the intersection on Highway 2. We have appeared in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals 2 times to request, and we received variances. Those variances have nothing to do with the lots, the lot configurations, the lot width, the lot size. Those all conform. The variances have to do with the structures, setbacks, and so forth. Accessory structures, location. With that, I'm going to ask Adam if he's got any comments.
I think you covered it, Todd. I don't have anything to add, and we've been working with staff outside of this meeting.
With that, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Dave?
After a series of submittals to development and stormwater management, an appears to conform letter was issued on March 14th to the applicant. It was appears to conform with 2 outstanding comments from my review. The first one being that, verifying that the health department was good with the septic easement that was shown. I know there was some conversation back and forth on that. And then the only other outstanding comment was for the applicant to show the proposed contours feathering into the existing contours behind the primary structure. And so that's just, that's being used as a holdup toward if prior to a building or ESC permit being awarded. But where does that comment stand, Adam?
I think I've been working with Dan on some issues related to the topography where the proposed meets up with the existing. And I can give you a copy. I was just trying to give Dan something in advance of this meeting.
Okay.
So the updated plans will be provided to you, and now it shows, because the bulk of the grading work is near Mary's home, and then in the pastures where we tie into those existing grades. So now the grading plan now reflects that.
Okay. And for the record, I didn't have any, there was nothing there that made me think this can't happen. It just wasn't shown in the last set that we had issued for the appears to conform. So if that's already been addressed when those applications come in, I'll just quickly verify that. But I don't have any, no cause for concern on that. I believe that that's probably taken care of, and like I said, I will review that when the additional applications are submitted. But they do have an appears to conform letter for the engineering review.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Dan?
Yeah, so I did receive your plans that you sent to me. Was that last week? Everything's blending together. And I did look them over. That's what I was asking for. It shows
Good.
the plans that they submitted to you had the proposed topography, like the grading and everything, and I needed to see something with the actual as-is topography right now. So that's what he provided to me.
Okay.
And just because that area where the septic easement is, with the proposed topo, it was too steep to put a septic system on, and I needed him to show me what it is now to verify that it was less than 15. So,
Okay.
which he provided that to me. I've looked that over. John McQuestion kind of laid out a rough Presby bed in that area to make sure that it would fit within the slope constraints and everything, and that worked. So I don't have any further comments or concerns. That easement is, and they put a drain outlet tail on there to run a drain outlet for around the septic system. So yeah, everything on my end
You're fine.
is good. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin?
The access for both of these are going to be off of Hayes Leonard Road.
That's correct.
Going to have individual outlets or access from what I see here.
It's a shared access.
It is a shared access. Okay, that's what the ingress egress easement across the
Correct.
front is.
There's a rectangular egress for lot 2, but the barn remains on lot 1. And so that access is for both, so that Mary can always have the ability to go up that drive into the front of her barn.
Right. I would just suggest you have some kind of written agreement on the plat for the maintenance of the entrance if they're going to use common access. So they have an understanding after the parcels are sold off to individual independent parties 20 years from now or 2 years from now, whenever that is. The wood barn is going to stay then? And,
Yes.
it's been there for quite a while, but with the new house, I'm not sure what the status is, that if you need to consider the fact that it should have an accessory building in front of a principal structure.
That was one of the variances we received.
Okay, thank you. Because that's always of concern, as you know.
Correct.
And we always want to make sure that those barns aren't being converted to a living structure, and it's not going to be in this case, but
That is correct.
to have it out in front is somewhat of a problem in the past for other locations. For Lot 2, is there an access off of State Road 2, or?
No, there's not. Only, and the access drive that is there today for the homestead will be closed. So the access drive will be moved further down to the north. Only one, and that will be a safe.
You just answered my second question.
Okay.
But for the sake of the public, traveling public, it'd be best not to have any access on the live.
Agreed.
So, thank you, that's all I have.
Martin?
For that ingress egress easement for the shared driveway, you do have verbiage in the plat that says you're going to be sharing responsibility, so I think that's been covered. We are reviewing your driveway application. You put in a permit for the driveway already.
Yes.
Appreciate that. So just letting you know, we have some review comments for that. We'll be giving you those.
Okay.
Mostly just about shaping in the drainage ditch right there.
Okay.
But, and then meet and grades, but we'll cover that later.
You're good.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Rich? Kelly?
I just had a comment for the health department. If they do put Presby down in that area for the septic, if there's something that happens in the future, can they remove that Presby and reinstall a septic in that area?
Yeah, I mean, most likely, if something happens to that Presby, we're going to try to figure out what's the problem is and then correct it. But, I mean, they should be able to remove that and remediate it if they had to. And
The reason I bring that comment up is because for the board, what you're agreeing to today is a lot with buildable, actually 2 lots, but the one lot will have their septic located on the other lot.
Lot,
It
yeah.
it is outside the lot lines of that lot, so. Really, my question was just whether or not they would have any kind of a move over area if something were to happen to that
We can't require move over areas anymore because of the new legislation.
No, I got that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just trying to see if they could replace it in that area.
They could,
Might help the board make things.
I believe the existing system is behind the current house there off of 2. So, I mean, I suppose that could possibly be looked at in the future as well, if we had to. I've been to the property, so, I mean, I think if we had to, we might be able to, depending on if that original house is raised and a new house is put in, or, you know, there's a possibility.
Since the Prisby's an engineer system, could you, if worse came to worse, put a mound system back over the same site?
Maybe if that area is big enough for a mound, but probably not a mound though, because mounds can't go on greater than 6% slope. And if that area
Marginal, right there.
is greater than 6, then we wouldn't be able to put a mound in that area where the Presby's at. Presby can be subsurface
Right.
or elevated. So
That was my only question.
Very good, thank you. Kel? Christie? Okay. So, any other comments you'd like to make, gentlemen?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Does anyone entertain a motion? Any conditions you want to put on the motion, please state. To approve.
Motion that we approve?
Second?
Were there any conditions that we wanted to put on it?
I'm asking if you have any.
No.
There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're done, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's something
He answered it. Okay, next case, MI 2023-14, Larry Harrison, Harrison Minor Subdivision. Morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Name and address, and give us a brief description of what you're going to do.
Larry Harrison, 428 South 600 West Hebron.
I'm David Tiemens from Tiemens Lancer Bank at 223rd Court in Des Moines, Indiana. We're here today to request primary plat approval for a 3-lot subdivision in Porter Township, right off of 600 West. It's completely surrounded by Yellowstone subdivision. It was all the undeveloped property that was not included as part of that subdivision on all 4 of those phases. It was all the leftover land. There's actually like 5 parcels that comprise, and there's a couple of them that are, you know, the old railroad, some irregular shaped parcels that are shown in light dashed lines on the drawing as parcel 1 through 5. We're proposing to create this into a 3-lot minor subdivision. There's an existing house, which lot 2, same thing as parcel 2, which Mr. Harrison currently resides. Lot 1, there is an existing residence there, an existing septic system. Lot 3 is the one where we're showing a proposed residence, which also has some current outbuildings on, and remnants of an existing driveway that comes off of the old railroad bed. There's also a easement from Twin Lakes Utilities that runs off of 600 West that goes through that existing driveway and the old railroad bed that goes through Yellowstone Drive to access the parcels to the south, which has been in existence prior to Yellowstone subdivision. So that has been there, you know, way before Yellowstone subdivision was there. Last November, I believe, we worked out some issues with staff. Originally, we were going to try to access the 3 lots off of 600 West on the current driveway. The bridge that goes over 600 West to Lot 2, which is Mr. Harrison's residence, was deemed to be not suitable for additional residences to access, so we were looked for other alternatives on accessing the remaining 2 lots. Because of the proximity, there's an existing culvert and crossing on where the railroad bed is at, but unfortunately, with the proximity to County Road 450 South, that was also deemed unsatisfactory. So we came up with the idea of Yellowstone Drive and Spring Canyon Drive, in which we finally got agreement with the staff on using that for access, with the condition that it got improved to county standards to the property line. So there's some right-of-way left between the existing curb and the actual property line. So that will receive a county standards road extension up to the property line. And then from there, it'll be by access easement through Lot 2, or Lot 3, I should say, in order for lots 1 and 3 to access. So lots 1 and 3 will access that easement and then go through Yellowstone subdivision for their access. As part of that agreement, we're closing off access on Lot 2 so that lots 1 and 3 cannot access 600 West. So there'll be a gate installed at the end of the existing gravel driveway where Mr. Harrison currently resides. We also went to the BZA hearing officer in November and were tabled. There were some concerns with some of the residents, and we took a few months to address all that with staff and came back in April and then received 6 variances from the development standards, being lots 1 and 3 less than 240 feet wide, no frontage tree planting on lot 2, the existing structure, existing accessory structure with no principal residence on lot 3. There's actually 2 buildings there currently. Yes. Existing structure, accessory structure placement between the primary structure and the right-of-way, and reduction in the side yard setback of the primary structure on lot 1 to 16 feet, again due to the existing residence that's already there. And then also the reduction in the side yard setback of an accessory structure for lot 3 to 13 feet, which is all shown on the plat. So since then, we've also obtained conformance letters from both staff and the stormwater department. I believe they looked at lot 3 as being no substantial actually a decrease in runoff, so there was no requirement for that. This is fairly unique. I guess the last item that we did get approval on and was requested of us to obtain would be from the Stormwater Advisory Board for the new location of the Cornell Ditch. According to the original plats that were submitted for Yellowstone subdivision, you'll see on the north side there was a regulated drain easement that says per Yellowstone subdivision Phase A. Obviously, the drain is not in that location, and we mapped out the new location of the Cornell Ditch and put a 75-foot easement on the south and west side of that from the top of the bank, and shown that on the plat as a regulated drain easement. And so we did receive that approval, I believe, in last month from the Stormwater Advisory Board. I think that's kind of the gist of my initial presentation.
Very thorough. Dave?
Yes, as you alluded to, Development and Stormwater Management issued an engineering conformance letter authored by Tom McNabb, who conducted the review on May 21st, 2024. There was a comment on the conformance letter. Just as a reminder to the applicant that prior to secondary, the secondary plat approval, the common improvement would have to be either substantially complete or a financial agreement put in place. After looking at the plan, I would assume that the plan is to just have the common improvements built prior to applying for secondary. Is that the case?
Are you planning on putting the road in before we do the secondary, or are you going to financial agreement?
Probably the financial agreement, just there's a lot of work to be done.
I mean, that would only cover what was considered the common improvements, but I mean,
Right.
that's certainly an option that you have.
Okay,
So you would secure a bond for the common improvements?
more than likely just due to the time constraints.
Okay. Remember with that, if you know you're in a hurry to get things done, one of the things that gets missed a lot with those is that there needs to be an engineering estimate to validate the amount that the bond is for. Sometimes they can even provide quotes. For, you know, hey, you know, I can build this for X $1,000, like that can satisfy it, but that's something that would be required to be submitted. In my opinion, it's a very straightforward process, but sometimes folks don't know that, and then they come in ready to go, and then they're, oh my god, I need to go get an estimate from somebody, or I need to get you know, an engineer to calc how much this is going to cost. So know that now.
Right.
Okay.
Understand.
That's all I have.
Dan?
Let's see. So, what's proposed? What is it? Lot 1. That's the one to the north. There's an existing.
Correct.
Is that house staying, or is that getting? Because you had borings done up there, and I was just.
Right.
I mean, does it need a new septic, or are you putting a different house there, or did you just?
I guess that's going to depend on the agreement with whoever purchases the property.
Oh, okay.
If they want to try and redo it,
Okay. So.
or if they want to,
Like just in. Okay.
yeah.
Just because if you know the house was going to be torn down and a new one, the old septic would have to be properly abandoned and everything like that. So I didn't know what the intent was.
Right now, we have no plans for lot 1.
Okay.
Primarily, it's just lot 3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any further questions or comments.
Thank you, Dan. Kevin?
This might have been already said, but for lot 1, is there a variance on the building line for the
Yes.
existing house? So that's all taken care of. The driveway, is there a name to that? You have the address at 420 South and 422 South on lot 3, but what is the 422 South 2? What's the,
600 West.
so you're going to call that 600 West, but it's not attached to 600?
Correct.
Okay. Could be a little bit confusing, but, so is there a name to the private drive at all?
No, it's basically just a private driveway, so it's not really a private road.
Well, I get that, and we don't want to be responsible for maintenance of it.
Right.
To a degree. Which brings me to the next thing is for final plat, you really need to have a roadway or driveway agreement for those folks on 1 and 3.
I do have a driveway maintenance statement on the plat already, too.
Okay, apparently just not the plat.
And no access easement certificate.
Yeah. Well, I'm good with it if he says he's got one. I'm fine as long as there's one there and we.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be all I'd have.
You all right?
Yep.
Martin?
So I know when we were looking at this, one of the big concerns was going over those pipeline easements and getting the proper agreements in place to cross those. I know there's an existing one, and you've had permission written down from them to use that, like it's already in place, and that's why it's there? Do we have an
It was
agreement?
already existing.
No, there's a driveway there, but I'm just making sure that the use of it is already in place. You have an
Yes.
agreement with the pipeline to cross it?
Yes,
Specific to
Okay.
the Buckeye pipeline.
correct.
Okay.
She's saying the existing easement provides everything you need for the access.
Yes.
Okay.
My suggestion is be in communication with them constantly because they see equipment moving around there. It's going to get called
I know.
in. You know.
And was this evaluated for fire trucks to get back in case of a fire? Do you have, is the surface, have you done a turning wheel path tracing on that to make sure fire equipment can get back there?
No.
Okay, I'd suggest showing that. That's probably something that's gonna be looked at, just to make sure that if something does happen, equipment can get in and out. And then also being able to turn around at the end, having a hammer handle that's capable. It looks like you have something there, but it's not a, I don't believe that's our full standard. I could be wrong.
What size, Dave, is that turnaround there?
We got it as 50 by 30.
Okay. I'd have to look. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think that might be 60 by 24 is our minimum. So you'd have to increase that.
This is all stone right in here.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of room for the turnaround.
Right there.
Would you have any problem increasing that to 60 by?
No, we can change that.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Rich, could you address the address? I know you're savvy on the addresses. Can you?
That's a good question. I don't know, have we assigned, has that come up?
I believe we did.
Did we do
And
that?
I thought you had contacted 911 to confirm the
I'll
address.
verify. I can go back in
Because
my
that's what we
email.
talked about, that you guys were gonna
Yeah,
confirm that with
always
911.
get concurs from 911 when we post
Right.
addresses. So I'll check into that and let everybody know.
My opinion, it should hold us up to date as long as this gets verified before final.
Kelly?
No, I
Christie? Okay. Any other comments by you guys?
No.
Anyone else on the board? Sounds like we got some conditions to add to this. What I wrote down, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, you said something prior to secondary plat. You had discussion on construct common improvements bonding. Is that correct?
Yes.
Martin?
That would not impact primary plat approval.
But that's just something they have to address. And Martin, you said you wanted a fire truck turnaround 60 foot by 24 foot minimum?
Yeah, our county standard minimum for Hammerhead.
And then
On
we will,
both Lot 2 and on Lot 3, right?
I was actually just looking at the shared access easement. I don't know if the other one is greater than, it is greater than 200, so both would need them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, tracing fire equipment, wheel path sweeps.
and then Rich, you'll be looking at the address.
Yes.
Okay. So with those conditions or
I'll make a
comments?
motion that we approve it based on those conditions, and staff can take care of it from there, I think.
Second? Okay, have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck. Thanks. Next case, DW 2024-7, Cone Management, Inc., care of Greg Lorig with DVG Design Team. Is asking for an informal review for Taco Bell in South Haven, intersection of McClure Road and U6 in Valparaiso, Indiana. State your name, address, and give us a brief description of your project, Greg.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Greg Laurie with DVG Team, 955 Troutwine Road, Crown Point, Indiana. I do think I have PDF I'll be able to pull up on the computer here, but I do have quite a number of hard copies of site plans, architectural plans, if anybody would like copies of those.
Yeah, you can pass.
Okay, I'll pass those out. Anybody else like copies?
Yeah.
Save time. Could you mind passing these?
Sure.
That's one copy.
This up?
Greg, did you already collate these, or?
Okay. Are these all copies of the same thing?
It's one copy of each.
Okay, I didn't know if it was a packet.
I'm gonna hand out just the site plan stuff now, but there's also architectural stuff going around too. Some sharp turns.
Take one and pass it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for helping pass some of those out. So again, I'm Greg Laurie with DVG Team. Applicant listed Cone Management is the existing property owner of the South Haven Square commercial development. You can see that on the screen. It's kind of the large commercial building just east of my pin drop there. Natron Corporation is actually the developer. They're looking to put in a 1,900 square foot Taco Bell. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this site is located on the east side of McCool, just south of US 6. There's a Centier Bank on the southeast corner. Kind of right where that pin drop is on the screen is where the Taco Bell is proposed to go. So it's between two existing driveways that lead in and out of this site. Most of the space is green space, grass right now, but there is a asphalt drive running through it as well. As Mike mentioned, we're kind of here for an informal meeting today ahead of July 24th Plan Commission. We are seeking a few design waivers, and then my understanding is we'll be back for a follow-up DRC meeting on August 7th. So today, I know this might be the first time a lot of you are seeing this, just kind of trying to summarize the project so you guys get a good feel for it, and also why we're looking for a few of these design waivers. We started early coordination with the county back in December of last year. Project was formally submitted on April 10th. Since then, we've received some zoning and engineering related comments from Kelly and David. We've addressed all those comments to date and received substantially conforming letters from each of them. This project is actually proposed to be constructed under a ground lease within the existing property. So the developer is looking to literally lease the ground to build and maintain this project. This is actually very common for a lot of Taco Bells. The existing property is zoned CM Moderate Intensity Commercial District and is also located within the US 6 Overlay District, South Haven Subdistrict. The Taco Bell is a permitted use type for both of those zoning and overlay districts. I would say that this site is a bit unique and provided several challenges. So I'm going to switch over to the site plan here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to show a little street view picture here.
Looks pretty flat.
There we go. So again, you got the Centier Bank to the north, and then we've kind of got this large green space here. This is where the project's proposed to be. What I wanted to show on this is the existing building to the east actually has a couple truck loading dock spaces that kind of came into play with this site layout. So I'm going to switch to the site plan now. So on the right side of this, kind of in the white area that's not hatched, is where the truck loading docks are. So we actually worked through probably 5 or 6 site plan iterations with the developer to try to get something that would work here. One of the handouts actually that was sent in or that was passed around was truck turning movements to make sure we could actually get trucks to be able to back in and out of those loading dock spaces without impacting parking lot and flow and functionality in here. It's not anticipated there's going to be a ton of deliveries with those loading docks, but at the same time, we wanted to do something that wouldn't be an issue with the existing property owner that's leasing the land. There's 2 existing driveways, kind of showed those on Google Earth earlier, so that's on the north end of the site plan on the top on the screen in white, and then there's also another one on the south side. The north driveway The only thing we're planning to do is curb and gutter to kind of separate the landscape area on the south side. And then the south driveway, we are proposing to reconstruct and widen to better accommodate truck turns to get safely onto McCool Road. So that driveway is proposed to really only be widened to the north. And that was kind of our goal, that we're not moving anything further south on this site than what's already there as far as existing pavement. There's also a sanitary sewer that runs down the middle of the site from south to north to Centier Bank. You can see that on the site plan, and that was something we had to work around. Originally, the building was going to be orientated east-west, but that was a problem with the sanitary sewer. As far as stormwater goes, we are proposing a typical storm sewer system with the caveat that we are actually oversizing several of our pipes to 30-inch and 24-inch to provide underground inline pipe detention. That'll be throttled through a 10-inch pipe to provide a 20% reduction in peak flow leaving the site, which is in conformance with the Porter County Stormwater Design Manual for this type of redevelopment project. We kind of coordinated that drainage design in detail with David Champion and the county throughout. Potable water will be provided by Indian American Water, Aqua, providing sanitary service. The project will include parking lot lighting and landscaping consistent with UDO requirements. Specifically on the landscape plan, which should have also been passed out, we're providing some additional landscape screening along the south edge of the property. There are a couple residential properties existing to the south. There's a fence there. We're not planning on touching the fence, but there will be additional landscape screening provided over there. NIPSCO then, and lastly on utilities, will provide gas and electric service. As I alluded to earlier, the project's scheduled for public hearing at Plan Commission later this month for 3 design waivers. Those 3 are as follows. Not provide the Class C 40-foot buffer yard along the south property line in accordance with the US 6 Corridor Overlay District. Reason for that is, our reason for that request is that there's an existing driveway and pavement already there in a substandard condition with only a 7 to 10 foot buffer. That width will not be decreased. We're holding that south line of that driveway, and we plan to add additional landscape screening. Another design waiver we're looking for later this month is the overlay district has a requirement to provide pathways on all sides of the property. In this case, with it being a ground lease and just a smaller piece of a much bigger parcel, it just doesn't really make sense to add paths all the way around this site. There's already an existing sidewalk on McCool Road, which will be maintained. We will be adding curb ramps at the driveway, and there will be connectivity to the Taco Bell with sidewalks. I think from a safety standpoint, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to funnel pedestrians, back into the interior of this site, which is for, fire access lane and parking lots and stuff like that. And then lastly, UDO has a requirement of 150-foot distance from a driveway to a public road. Raritan Drive is located 119 feet south of our southern driveway. Again, our thinking is there's an existing commercial driveway already at this location. We're able to, fit a workable site plan in for the developer using the existing drives. If we had to use that 150 feet, this is not going to be feasible. And again, the only thing we did with that southern drive is just widen it to the north to make it safer for truck turns. So in summary, I think we kind of laid out there's a lot of numerous pre-existing site conditions that kind of prohibit the ability for us to meet these 3 requirements. We do believe this is a good project for the county that'll be, economically beneficial and enjoyed by the people that live nearby. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions from the committee at this time.
Dave?
So, engineering received the initial application of this project on May 13th. On submittal number 2, a conformance letter was issued on June 17th. Thank you for addressing those comments. I also just want to take this time, since you're here, to address your recent email regarding the folks that are behind this that want to get started. I will say that from my end, what I look at from this point forward, if this were all to go through, for the erosion and sediment control permit, on my desk, that'll become more or less a pass-through, because I've been looking at those things during this application. So that fee would be covering the our pre-construction meeting that we would have on site, and then the follow-up inspections that take place during construction, if everything were to go through. And I would just say, I'll say it at the pre-con as well, but obviously the site's going to be under a microscope, high traffic area, so don't make a mess.
Sure.
That's all I have.
Dan?
I don't have any comments or concerns. It's on water and sewer, so.
Very good, thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, that's, emphasize what David said, is you're very visible. There's a lot of officials that work for the state and federal agencies that drive 6 regularly, not to mention the public at large. Things will be, you're kind of under the microscope, so to speak, because you're just out in the open. Do you know where the nearest fire hydrant is?
So there's 2 fire hydrants, one to the north. I think they're both about 400 feet from the site right now. So one's down Puritan and one's north towards the corner. That's where they're at right now, I believe.
You know, I think it'd be worthwhile for you or your client to visit the South Haven Fire Department, just so they understand what's going on here. And if they have any suggestions for you for public safety. But that's all I have.
Martin?
From the highway engineering perspective, I think what you're doing with the drive makes sense. I don't have any comments on it.
Rich?
My only comment is following this meeting today, the department will issue our standard letter giving the following address to this parcel. It would be 793 North McCool Road, Tahoe, Indiana 46385. And we'll send that on to you, Greg. It goes to the auditor's office, the assessor's office, 911 has to be disseminated to whomever.
All right, thanks, Rich. So that was 793 North McCool?
You'll get an official letter.
Okay, thank you.
This is unique because this is a lease parcel. Typically, addresses are attached to a GIS parcel number, which this whole site, that C500 parcel in South Haven, is 390 West US 6, and then everything breaks down into suite numbers. So this will give you a better identity, and especially since your access is off of McCool Road.
All right, thank you.
Kelly?
So we have spent a lot of time with Greg. He's done a great job of providing information concerning the lighting so that we don't have light trespass, because they are pretty close to some higher density residential to the south. One of the things that so really they've done a great job of trying to squeeze what they want to do in here in the size that they have available for it. My only concern would be, we do have them signed up for waivers. The ordinances that they're asking for relief from fall under Chapter 3 and Chapter 5, which would actually be a design standard variance. So, I'm sorry, a developmental standard variance. So I guess that would just be my question is, should they really go before the plan commission? Or
Yes, I made that decision. It's a buffer, and Chapter 3 comes from Chapter 7, and Chapter 7 is design waivers. And I've been to every plan commission meeting, and we don't put buffers in front of BZA. So that's why I made that
So I
determination.
don't even get to finish my question?
You've asked
Is
for an
that
answer.
how that goes?
Tell you what, Kelly, go ahead and finish your question.
My question is, it's pretty clear in our procedure where they come out of. However, however you guys want to handle it. I suppose that's up to you.
All right, we'll discuss that return.
I concur.
We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Christie?
I have nothing.
So this is just an informal presentation. You heard comments made.
Yep.
Maybe a matter or two we'll get back to you on going forward from here. So
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Next case, UV 2024-35. Michael J. Saharis. Did I say that right? Close enough, fine. 137 South, 200 West, Valparaiso, Porter Township. Informal review for use variance.
Yes, sir.
State your name, address, and then give us a description of your.
My name is Michael Zaharias. Address is 137 South, 200 West, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. I'm asking for a use variance to start an equipment rental business out of my home.
Start with comments.
Well, what kind of business? Explain to them what kind of business.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically miniature equipment rental, compact equipment rental, walk-behind equipment rental, trailer rental. I hope I've answered that
It's
question.
all going to be inside?
No, the equipment's parked outside. If you look at my address, that back building, I can put all the equipment in, and I have, with the exception of my trailers. Everything in winter months and inclement weather gets stored inside, with the exception of the.
How much are you going to have outside, just to kind of paint the picture here?
I've got 4 trailers outside and 2 tractors and a compact skid loader.
So that's the equipment you rent out, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything else is walk-behind equipment, small like cement mixers, tillers, aerators, and that's all kept inside.
That's all kept inside.
Yes, sir.
Dave?
Are you and typically the way that these go, there could be, some back and forth and returning other folks. But at this time, my immediate questions from what I look at would be, are you doing any grading or adding any impervious surface as a result of operating this business?
I extended the driveway to the south, and if you look at the home from the westerly edge, I went back 25 foot and then extended south 20 foot. I can park 2 trailers side by side there. I'm still within my property line by about 6 foot of my fence, and then I'm gravel 3/4 inch fines right out to the road. Basically, I went from a 2.5, 3 car wide drive to a 4 car.
Okay, so there's work that you already performed.
Yes.
For this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought in 15 tons of 3/4.
Okay. Do you have any concept of square footage improvements that took place as a result of what was done already?
About 65 foot from the road. It's
My question
gravel
is,
added.
if you added gravel to what was previously a grassed area, that would be making an increase in impervious surface that would get reviewed for runoff conditions. So
No, I dug out. I dug out about 8 inches. All of my utilities are on the north side of the home.
Okay.
There was no drain tile, nothing.
But you went from what he's saying is you went from grass to something that's.
The surface changed though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cart might be in front of the horse on some of this then, but that would be typically when folks would change when they would submit something to change a property, they would be showing, hey, my property was like this, and to support this effort, I need to add this parking area, I need to add this small structure, anything that would change the way that the site responds to a rain event and the runoff that comes off of it was something that would get looked at in advance. So that's why I asked the question. So, and again, I have a piece of paper, I think I brought a copy of it. I have a piece of paper I can give you after the meeting that would show what some of those thresholds would be as far as what would get reviewed from both an erosion and sediment control standpoint and a stormwater perspective, to keep the flow of the meeting going here. The other the other thing that immediately springs to mind for me is any type of folks accessing the site. Now they're bringing something behind their vehicle, or they're leaving the site with a larger vehicle. I don't know how many customers or hours of operation we're expecting, but that's going to be the stuff that gets looked at for what's the impact to other folks now, because somebody is picking up equipment. Are they stacking any type of traffic out to 200 West? Do they have the proper turning radiuses to access this area now? So those are some of the types of things that we'll be looking at. I'm sure other folks will be addressing as well. But while other folks give their piece, I will see if I believe I brought a copy of that paper that would show what we look at.
Okay, Dan?
So, is this just you running
Yes.
this? You don't have employees or anything?
Not yet, no.
There's not a public restroom?
No.
Anything like that? All right. So when you do you have a drive going back to that building in the back or anything?
No, that's just grass.
Okay.
That's part of the backyard.
So my concern here is your septic system and possibly you or other people driving over your septic system, because you don't want to drive over your septic system.
Right.
So, I mean, if everything's in that back building, or I don't know where are you storing the trailers and stuff?
Right there on the southwest side of the lot where I extended the drive.
Okay, so they're up in front?
Yes.
Okay, you're not putting anything in the back?
No, just
Field?
just during inclement weather, I'll take the tractors back there, but that whole south side of the property, my septic's not there. My laterals are just to the north. If you look at that oval, that's my pool.
Right.
All the southerly line back to that building, all of my laterals are north of that.
Okay.
Is that outbuilding in the back where you're going to put everything inside?
Yes, that's where I do, yep.
Yeah, I'll have to. I thought I looked. I don't know if we have something on file for the septic system.
Probably not. When I did my deck, none of that was on file.
Okay, because yeah, I mean that would be my concern here is just traffic over the field, and then if you were gonna have employees or a public restroom or something, because then that changes the use of that septic field, which if it's a change of use and since it would be a commercial business run out of there, then there has to be state involvement with that and everything. So the fact that there's no public restroom or anything, and there's not going to be an additional wastewater load, then I don't think it'll need to go through the state. But yeah, that's just my concern. Is I'd be curious. I mean, have you located your septic system? Like, have you located all the laterals and everything?
I can physically see where they're at, if that
Okay.
is your question. But I've not had a professional company locate it.
Okay.
I know nothing is on record from the previous owners, the addition to the home, when they moved the septic, all of that, because I also, when I pulled my building permit, was almost denied for my deck, because I was told the existing septic tank was underneath the existing deck. It's not, but that's what was on record. Basically, the gist of what I'm doing, it's almost like appointment-based. I have everything set up in a drive ready to go. There's no parking on the street. Customer pulls up, I do the paperwork, and then they hook up in the drive, and then they exit. No different than neighbors around me that have campers back in their driveway.
Yeah.
So to kind of finish that thought, so when these trailers come, they don't turn around how do you turn them around the property? You back them all in from the road?
Oh, they back in, and then I hook them up, and I put them exactly where I need to, staying off the roadway.
Let that one go and let others handle that. Kevin?
Yeah, starting with the septic, typically the laterals are 100 foot long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that size of house, I would guess that you've got 5 laterals there, so that could be an issue. And you're 110 feet wide with your lot. So my guess is Dan's on the right track, that your laterals probably go all the way across, and hopefully your shed wasn't planted on top of any portion of.
I don't believe so. If you look at that shed line on the easterly, it slopes down.
Yeah, and typically it'd be closer to the house, and unfortunately, a consequence, of carelessness of previous owners, they build decks and things over the top of the septic tank, and you discover this when you need to go clean it. The question is, as you're turning into a business, and I think you're going to, is he going to the hearing officer?
No, BZA, full board.
Oh, good. Okay. Since you're going to the BZA, they may require you to address security and lighting issues because we can't have lighting impacting your neighbors, but because of the value of your inventory, that's usually what people do, is light it up. The other thing is buffering might be a consideration.
Say buffering?
Having fences or hedgerows or something that are tall enough, because you have a subdivision behind you and houses on each side. When was your house built?
79, I believe.
Okay.
1979, sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if the health department would necessarily have the record of the.
Our records go back to 74, but
yeah,
doesn't mean we have every single record back from the 70s. So.
From what my neighbors told me, back in 2012 is when the home addition was made, as well as replacement of the entire septic field.
Well, then we should have a file on that.
If it was by permit.
If it was permitted, we should have a file. If it wasn't permitted, then that's illegal septic install.
Yeah.
It can be remedied, but just want to be aware. That's.
Now, it could be, when I went and pulled my building permit, I was told everything was being transferred, so it's quite possible. The only thing on record was the building of that rear structure at that time.
I'll double
that was
check.
4 years ago.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to follow up with me, health department, I'll double check again and see, just because I just want to make sure we know where everything's at and, there's no traffic over that septic field.
And to give you the heads up, Mike brought up the outdoor storage. That has always been an issue with planning commissioners and zoning commissioners, so.
Okay.
It's, you wouldn't be the only one. They'd be addressing that because that's often what the neighbors bring up too. They don't like to see stuff outside, but it sounds like you might have some of it inside. And if you grow the business, what way do you grow here?
I'm sorry?
Well, it's just something for you to think about, but what direction do you grow? You've got a septic field in back, your lot's kind of filled in. If you acquire more equipment.
Oh, it'll be to an actual commercial space.
Yeah.
I spent my capital on equipment rather than a storefront, just to get going and get off the ground.
I get it. I'm just helping you prepare.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Martin.
200 West is a major collector, so I think having your customers back up, stopping on 200 West and backing up might be a safety concern. I would not recommend advising your customers to do that. You mentioned that you widen your driveway. What year did you widen it?
This past year?
Did you get a permit when you did that?
I think I needed one.
Yeah, you do in Porter County, you have to get a driveway permit if you're modifying, widening your driveway. So you do need to come in, submit that permit now. If you're going 4 cars wide with it, that is definitely beyond what you're allowed per your zoning. You have an 18-foot max for single-family rural residential at the right-of-way line. So once you get back behind that right-of-way line, you can do whatever you want on the property, but you might need to go back and change some of the improvements that you did.
Okay.
That's all that I have.
Thank you, Martin. Rich? Kelly?
No comments.
Christie?
Nope.
Okay.
Sir, I found that document,
Yes.
I'll give you a copy of this. This lays out when erosion and sediment control and stormwater management permits would be applicable, when these reviews would take place. So I'll give you that for your reading pleasure. Thank you. You're welcome.
As far as whatever way they're gonna.
Okay, so there was a lot of comments. It's just an informal hearing, so you can hear the comments of staff. I think staff gave you a lot of really good questions that you're facing when you appeared before the BZA.
Yes.
So I'll summarize a couple of them. If I miss some, please help me out. I think one of your explanations is gonna have to be what you're gonna do with outside storage, what that's gonna look like, and how you're gonna manage all that. I think that's gonna be a pretty important concern by the board. So you need to be prepared to address that if that's even possible. You widened your driveway. You did it without a permit, and if it's within the right-of-way to the road, I think you have to rectify that situation.
Yes.
So we'd like you to come to the office so you can rectify that.
Which office is that?
Suite 311 in this building.
Okay.
Questions like customer count, how you're gonna handle business and all that. I think most importantly is how you're gonna get trailers in and out. You got a real tight property here. You're gonna be storing trailers and tractors outside, and you got a real tight property. How you gonna turn all this trailers and that down? Are you talking like small lowboy trailers, maybe 14 feet or small?
20 foot and smaller.
Yeah, still gonna be an issue trying to turn those things around 180, so be prepared to do, I don't know if you can do that, but I'll leave that to you, okay? Hours of operation, turning radius on the property, of course. The other issue I think you need to rectify, meet with Dan. He's offered for you to come down. If you did not permit for any septic stuff, you probably need to get that rectified as well. Kevin brought up lighting and security, how you're gonna put any security controls with lighting and all that. What impacts is that gonna create to your neighbors or any buffers? You answered the question, what happens if the business grows? And, to what point? What's that tipping point gonna be? How much stuff are you gonna put on your property?
Well, usually the BZA puts time stipulations on it. So
Understood.
they watch it to see if it is growing, if he does get approved, and then they would recommend that he would get a commercial space if it's growing, he's getting a lot of customers.
So this is just kind of, it'll be watched to see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay?
Just for my own general information, does staff keep track and then visit the site? Okay.
And then lastly, Dave gave you copies of where stormwater requirements are, so sounds like you got a little homework to do before the BZA meeting.
Yep.
Because they'll probably grill you. Any questions for us or anybody up here have any more comments they'd like to make? Did I miss anything?
Good luck.
Okay,
You're
well,
not
good.
proposing a sign, are you? A sign, kind of advertisement?
There was like a sign, maybe the size of what politicians use. That was originally what I got cited for, what started all this.
Okay.
But no, I was told take that down.
You can ask them if you can keep it or not, if it's small enough, or if you have to apply for.
Yeah, no, it was literally like a 12 by 24 inch sign. So that's been taken down since I got the notice.
And that'll be something you'll ask them, just know that you'll know the size and
Okay.
you can address it when they ask the question.
And then
Thank you.
make sure if it's lit or if it's a moving sign or.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So please address that item as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anything else, anybody? Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Patient people sitting in the third row. Help me with the last name for the record. Sism? Stephen Sism, Cosmos Midnight Stables, North 500 East, Michigan City, Indiana, Boone Township.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
No.
Michigan City, Boone Township?
No, Pine.
That would be Pine.
Yep.
Currently is A1 General Agriculture, informal review. You're looking for a special exception to allow a horse stable. So name,
Yes.
address, and
My name is Steve Sism. My current address is 4354 West, 750 North, Michigan City.
I'll just say that he did have this property rezoned to A1 to build, was it a horse arena
It is a horse stable.
stable?
And arena.
With that, he was approved for the rezone, but stated he had to go for a special exception for the stable, which is required in our UDO. So this is just an informal review for him to go in front of Plan Commission for a special exception. But it is allowed in that zoning district with a special exception.
Thank you. And then,
Yep, Casey Richards with Falk PLI, 6370 Ameriplex Drive in Portage. So we have a site plan created. I don't know if you guys have that in front of you or not. But what we're proposing here is on a 50-acre site, we're going to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, a 12 stable,
12 stall barn.
12 stall barn
with riding arena.
With riding arena and two
living quarters.
2 living quarters, yes. The septic has been approved by the health department. We have
And we also have a driveway permit.
driveway permit. And then was the hay barn also?
The hay barn was approved and built. It's already on site.
Approximate area is about 41,000 square feet. We do have documents waiting for comment response by engineering, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
You said that the plans for this were submitted?
Yes.
When was that?
Yes. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I'm trying to, yes, everything was.
I believe June 12th
There you go.
is when they should have been submitted.
I'll need to check my records to see if this is something that was signed to Mr. Tom McNabb for his review, but this is not standing up to me as something that I've seen. I do the reviews for erosion and stormwater issues predominantly. I don't recall seeing this yet.
Submitted in May.
No, in May.
So, yeah, let's see, here's.
Have you received any correspondence from?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I have this is the deed, this is application. We don't have an application for them yet.
we'll need to get back to you. on what
Yeah, I'll
the
need to
status-
get back to you, find out who, it's possible maybe there was a day when I may have been away and maybe somebody gave it to another reviewer to look at.
No, they don't have an application, David. I don't think they submitted an application for the design waiver. That was the 4,000, was it, that you had to, you came in, you were gonna?
Yes. It ended up being less, but yes, I paid that and submitted all the paperwork.
When was this constructed? You said you've already,
The barn was constructed the hay barn, I'm sorry, just the hay barn was constructed October of last year.
Oh, okay.
That's just an agricultural building just for hay storage.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any comment, as I haven't seen, I don't have any comment on that, but it's a permit that you put in?
For the hay barn, it was just a building permit for an agricultural.
Gotcha. Okay, so that was probably reviewed by from the stormwater perspective. That was probably reviewed by Amanda Bandenover. would be
Yeah.
my
Now
guess.
the new stuff that was submitted in May is for the stalls and the arena and the living area and everything has been submitted in end of May.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll withhold any comments, and as I haven't seen the plan for this, but sir, you're a design professional that
Yes.
types of things together. I mean, I'm sure that you put this together from the perspective of you didn't put this in the middle of a drainage way or a
No.
swale area or anything like that. It does happen. When
Yeah.
folks don't know better, so that's what this would get reviewed by the county for. But I don't recall ever seeing this, but the name sounds familiar. So I'm thinking that this could have been something reviewed by Amanda already. So I'll withhold any comment.
Okay.
Dan?
They got specs from Indiana Department of Health, and I've already looked at the plan for the septic and everything, so we're good on that.
Okay. Kevin?
Are you planning on having events at this place, or is it a training center?
Well, initially, it's going to be just a training center. My daughter trains horses. She trains people to ride. In the future, we would like to hold an outdoor jumping event. If everything plans out the way we have she's kind of laid out her pastures and those things to allow for that in the event that we are able to do that. I mean, in the future.
So is she also doing dressage, or?
She does dressage. The barn is going to be basically eventing barn, so it's jumping, show jumping, and dressage.
How kind of, to follow up on Kevin, what kind of customer, so to speak, would you expect on this property at once?
I don't, what kind of customer?
Well, someone's got to drive and park. I guess that's what I'm leading to.
Well, we're going to have 12 stalls. Per the county regulations, we can only have 19 horses.
On site?
On site. Yeah, so the...
There's plenty of parking if you see the. Can you state your name and
I'm
address
sorry.
for the record?
Julie Sism.
I'm sorry.
Sism's wife. Yeah, we've submitted hundreds of pages, and there's plenty of parking.
Okay.
For more than 12 people.
That's something we'll look at when we get out.
Yes.
We're just trying to get a feel for how it's going to impact our roads. As David addressed drainage, we still need more information on that, but we also need to know if you do have events, what kind of impacts it might have on the local traffic conditions and the roads, because I assume people will be trailing or in their own horse.
Most of the things that'll happen will be kids coming in cars to train on our horses. We will allow people to trailer in for a fee and use, as long as our insurance agrees with us, to let people use the arena. But I mean, the parking, the turnaround, the pull off of the driveway, we have our driveway permit. I think we put it the max that they let us have it at the road, which I think was, off the top of my head, I want to say 28 feet wide. So we have plenty of room to turn a trailer in and out. And then once you pull onto the property, the driveway, I want to say, is just over 600 feet long. And then you'll have ample space to turn around and come out, so nobody's backing in and out.
And part of the reason I brought it up, it's just a suggestion on my part, but you might want to have some turning lanes, extend the road a little bit, work with highway, because when you're trying to pull off the road with the trail.
Right, well, that's why I made it as wide. I mean, if I have to get a variance to make it wider, I was told when we put it in, as wide as we could have it is as wide as I told. I haven't put the driveway in yet. I do have the permit, but I didn't make it. I'll make it as wide as I can make it, and then put a berm. So, I don't want any horse trailers coming off into the ditch.
You don't want to stress out the horses.
Well, and the people driving, yes.
But I can't imagine equestrian events, if that's the local or the intended use, to have that much of a draw. Not talking hundreds of.
No, I mean, usually it's, I mean, what would you say, babe? 50. Yeah, 50 people would probably be top.
I've been involved with it.
And in that case, we would open up a pasture to park in, so they can pull their trailers in and out. This just going off of what we've done in the past at other places.
Okay. That's all I really have.
Martin?
What was the word you guys were saying? Trisiming? What did you say with the horse training? It was a fun word that you were.
Dressage.
Dressage.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, dressage is just a form of riding the horses, and I'm for you know how to explain it.
Okay.
If you
It's
watch
a technique.
If you
correct?
watch the Olympics, when they get dressed up in their coats, it's basically it's when they're out there in an arena.
Okay.
And basically, what you're having the horse do things without ever the rider never moves.
Okay.
They're doing everything with the control of their legs.
Interesting.
They kind of
Impressive.
raise
to watch.
themselves.
Yeah.
With their heels,
But
like Western, where you just sit and you just drive
and run. Yeah, it's
Okay.
You,
They look like they're foxing when they're doing that.
yeah, it's
but-
a very English. Yeah, it's
they're on their toes.
yeah.
Okay, as far as your driveway goes, if you had to go wider, you have to get a variance, then what's allowed.
Okay.
But it looks like the location would be fine to work out any of those details later. So, no comments for that.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Rich?
I have not been asked to give an address on this yet, so I'm assuming that'll come along here pretty quick. So I have no comments, I haven't seen.
How do I get one of those? I've been trying to get one of those for a year. And
So I'm sorry, say again?
I've been trying to get one of those for a year.
You're talking to the
Ask
right
if I
guy.
had one. I don't have one.
Yeah,
So-
typically it starts, the request is initiated because somebody's gonna build something. Now, the fact that you built a barn on there, I'm surprised that you didn't have to have an address on the permit when you did that back in October.
It's because it was deemed agriculture, which is what it is. It's just an agricultural structure, so maybe that's why they didn't.
Now that you're gonna have some, I think I heard 2 living quarters,
Yes.
need, we'll have to figure out what kind of addressing you're gonna need. So that's a request that your surveyor engineer can make in,
Okay.
in an email request to the office.
Okay.
Great.
So we have something in writing to start it off.
All right. Sounds good.
Will do.
I gotta ask, is this a barn dominium then too, or?
I don't know what I mean. It's
Living quarters.
we are, yes,
barn.
we are going to live it because I mean, of the nature of the business, you want to be able to be right there with the horses, to take care of them for the safety of them and
For the
one else.
value of the livestock.
What's that?
For the value of the livestock.
Exactly.
Good horses cost more than a car.
Oh, yes. Yes, they can.
Kelly?
I guess my only comment is, since it is a commercial business, I assume they're going to do a development plan. In which case, the stormwater, driveways, parking, lighting, sound, noise, all of that would be addressed in that. All I have.
Okay, thank you. Christie? Okay, so,
So, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
The development plan is going to be submitted. Have you done development plans for work within Porter County?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the checklist at the back of the design manual and?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Do the stuff on the list.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Perfect.
I think I got that. Yep.
okay, so hearing before us is informal. You're getting comments from
Yes.
staff. These are things that you'll probably be faced with when you appear before the full boards. Kind of like to go over some things of concern, not concern, but put up. Number one, you said you submitted some plans June 12th. We will look into that and get back to your designer or yourself.
Okay.
You know, on that. Traffic and parking is probably going to be a big issue, you know, especially if you're saying you're going to hold events or you're going to have multiple people there at the same time tending to their own horses.
Right.
You're going to have to prove you got parking and circulation. And then, because what you're doing with the structure in that, you'll have to submit a development plan, stormwater, et cetera, all that stuff when the time comes.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Did I miss anything? Did anybody think of?
I'd also just recommend, I believe somebody already addressed the lighting, but when you are appearing before other folks, it's probably a good idea also to know any type of sound that's going to be associated with these events. So if you're planning on, like, you know, are you going to have a speaker system announcing, you know, the scores for participants, or, you know, announcing where they can buy some candy or something, or, like, you know, it's like hours of operation, any type of sounds that might be associated with the site would probably be something that neighbors would be interested in.
Okay.
Good point, David. Thank you.
If I may add to sign, if you're going to have a sign out in front of it, which you probably will.
Yes.
You might have to approach BZA about, or at least
Well,
zoning
or just
people.
follow our codes for that zoning district, but I don't even have it as a business, so that's a whole different issue.
Well, it's something you need to talk to her about, how you're going to approach this and develop.
Okay.
Because I kind of brought up, because I suspected it was going to become an event center potentially,
Yeah.
as well as a training facility.
Dan's waiting next.
So just, because right now it would just be like training and stuff, because I think that's what it was approved for.
Right.
But if you start to have events and stuff like that, and you have more people in, that may change the use.
Well, I mean, if I
I mean, if you get to that
well,
point.
right, no, but if I have events, there'll be porta potties,
That was
that type of thing. I'm not setting.
that's fine. Yeah.
Way on my
Because
side.
the system is not designed for you to have events, so I just want to
Right.
make that point. It's for people that are coming to train and then
Correct.
the usage in the residence. So
Right.
if you're going to start having events, then yeah, you'll probably have to get porta john.
Oh, without a doubt.
So okay, just wanted to make that point.
Rich?
And I apologize if it's, I don't have it written down here, hours of operation.
Hours of operation, days a week, some people on weekends.
I mean,
They're not,
if-
if they're not a business right now, then they're not gonna have it, but if they become a business, you're not a business now, right?
no, no. Right now, we're, I mean, just hoping to get it built.
Run a business, you'd have to come back, because it's not in the proper zoning for a use variance to run a business in an A1 zoning district, but that's not what he's going for right now.
Well, he could be asked that question.
He will be asked that question, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean, 7, I just asked my daughter what her 7 to 9 would be when people would be able to access. That's giving indoor lessons. I mean, we're having indoor riding arena, so she would get lessons up till 9 o'clock.
That's how it works.
Okay. So they may ask other questions we didn't answer.
All right.
Okay. So we wish you luck. We'll get back to you on a couple of these items.
Okay, perfect.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just
Any other topics?
Dressage, I'll be using that.
Yeah, Martin learned a vocabulary word today.
All right.
Oh,
Stand recessed or adjourned, however you want to look at it.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourned, second.
I think that my comments were taken care of once you said that at all. So whatever was submitted prior, probably because it's agricultural zoning, it may